before I even get to know them, as I'm walking up and down the hills, let's say, a little kids group will say, "Hi, Pastor Tim," and then they'll start relating with me because they heard that word that really spoke to them.
Yes.
But so before I can even really get to know them, they know me, but they're glad that they know me,
yes.
and they're excited. And I mean, they want to start hanging out, making chants. I mean, I've noticed this,
sure.
that when you proclaim this word, before I get to know them, they're excited by what they heard. So, and that they start showing their excitement, even from across camp. "Hey, Pastor Tim."
Yeah.
I mean, I know it has to do with the gospel because they don't know me yet. All they've done is heard that they're included.
Yeah.
But it resonates so deeply that
it's that whole spiritual relationship. It's that whole spiritual relationship that we're all experiencing. I was talking earlier in a conversation today about some experience I've had with people, from other denominations, and it seems like they have a very difficult time because their experience of God is very relational, very accepting, very loving. They experience that, but in their head somehow they've got that all confused. They've gotten into the performance based again of what does God expect from me? How do I pray to Him? If I don't pray in the right way, He's not going to listen to me. And they get all this jumbled up in their head, but their heart and their experience is a different thing. But even like you were talking about, Tim, how these kids and that relational connection, it's just really cool to be in the flow of the experience of that.
Absolutely.
It's not always easy to describe what's going on, but boy, when you're right in the middle of living it. So.
But that's why camp is such a unique environment, because the kids love being there.
Yes.
Okay, and they love the relationships that are established within their unit, their dorm, with the brothers and sister dorms. And they don't always connect why that is. They just know they're having fun, they're enjoying the relationships, but like Tim mentioned earlier, man, it is so cool to be able to connect the dots, to say, that's God in you.
Yes.
That's not manufactured, nothing that you can come up with. That's God living out Himself in you, because God's always been a small group in communion, and to think that He's included us in that small group, which has become a very big group of the sea of humanity. Whoo-wee, when they make that connection, that is something good.
I tell you, it impacts me to do something different. Besides preaching, let's say I'm out there on the ball field. I help with flag football. So that's of all ages and grades and so forth.
We've never seen you play flag football, by the way. We see you out there.
That's right. I'm always enforced to run. But I'm
looking like Randy Moss.
But I'm out there, and because I'm the referee, I'm in charge of the rules, so, making sure that things remain kosher. But I noticed a strange difference. When the young ladies and girls are out there, I mean the young ones, they're in groups of like 3 or 4, hardly really wanting to play. They're in groups while I'm trying to get the game going. They're chatting. And some of them are just interested in chatting and say, "Hey, you 3, get over here." And then as soon as you get those 3, another 3. Now, I would have gotten frustrated if I was not thinking about our inclusion and relationship wasn't the key thing.
Sure.
And I was more into law and teaching that, then I'd be more interested in the rules and saying, "Hey, I know why they're doing this.
Yes.
They can't help it. They're in a relationship." And so it even causes the game to go different. I could really spoil the game by getting frustrated, and I'd be a mad referee, and they'd be upset kids.
Yeah.
I just say, "All right, we'll try to play it as best we can, but I understand why they're doing that." And you just work with it the best you can. You still get them involved. "Hey, you're included. You talk that language, so come on. It's not just about you guys." And yet, on the other hand, I'm a little soft with it because I realize they're talking and in relationship because that's who they are.
Exactly.
That's what this thing is about. The game isn't as important as relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've always appreciated how you've said, this is a God who loves you,
Oh, yeah.
but He likes you.
Yeah.
And He wants to hang out with you. And that to me really is a great summary of what the whole experience of what goes on in camp, and even beyond, because like we said, we're not leaving Christ behind the camp, and He's not leaving us. It's an eternal relationship. Yeah. But how do the kids? How do they respond to it when you express to them God in that context, that He loves you? And I think we all kind of like, we love people. I know in my own life, there's people I know I love. I always like being with them. There's certain things,
Well, that's just it. That's why they resonate with it, because all of them can identify and even have heard someone say or probably said themselves, "Well, I love them, but I don't like them."
Yes.
This is a common thing. But for someone to not only love you but like you, so to speak of love means I don't have to be near you.
Right.
I can love you, and so actually But when you say I like you, that speaks of wanting to constantly be near you.
Yes.
And intimate, as Keegan was saying. So like tends to be really is a stronger term than love right now because of our warped view of love and hearing that statement a lot. I love them, but I don't like them. Like speaks to the fact that he wants to be, not only wants to be with you, he is with you and doesn't leave you for a second, whereas love doesn't sound as unconditional as we really want it to sound, because we can actually speak of loving but not being near and wanting to like them.
That's good.
So I know it's kind of complex, but it's simple enough where they can identify and really get the point. Mm-hmm. I even asked kids after preaching it. I asked the older kids this past year after preaching this way, because I realize that sometimes to a young person, and even to myself, it can sound complicated based off of what the way we've all been taught. So I asked the young, hey, did you get something out of that when we said God not only loves you, he likes you? They say, yes. I said, well, tell me a little further what you got out of it and why it was meaningful to you. He said, well, because it's not dumbing things down so bad that, it's only for the kindergartners. There's enough depth in there for me. I think he was 16 years old. But on the other hand, it is so simple that those kindergartners can get it and we can get it too. That was his answer and response. So that encouraged me, because at first it can seem intimidating to talk in these ways, to wrestle with them. But because we are included and because it really is the truth that we are liked, we really all can get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the concept of liking someone too means you embrace every aspect of their life, and it's amazing how in Trinitarian thought and the truth of the universe is the things as human beings that we would fear. Death, it's been defeated, there's victory. Sin, it's been defeated, there's victory. The fact that I may not be, or I may be rejected, no, that's been defeated, that's been beaten in Jesus. So all the things that we would naturally fear, God has removed that and embraced every aspect of our lives to the point now where you can say, because life began in my heart and in my mind before the creation of the world, I now see you as holy, as blameless, and you are my child. And that may seem like a simple statement that I'm a child of God, but when that reality sinks into the very depths of our soul, you see yourself differently. I see Keegan differently now. He's from Alabama, I certain.
You're right, though. I mean, that whole sense, our identity is that we are children of the King. That was the theme this year with the curriculum that we used, and what a powerful message to be able to bring that across in a way that even the young ones and the old ones, like Tim said, can relate to. So
and something I like to say that ties into what Anthony just said. On how they get the connection. It changes their view about death, he said. And I was in a very great conversation at a lunch table one day with the girls' dorm. And we were talking about how when Jesus died, we died, and when he rose, we somehow mysteriously rose in him. But that he's now still a human being because he's going to forever sustain our humanity. He wanted us to be human. We're going to forever be human, and so he's sustaining our humanity. So that caused one girl to ask, so does this mean we're going to be able to eat macaroni and cheese? And so I said, yeah, probably so. Why not? And we went to Luke 23, I believe, where Jesus, when he was rose, he ate fish and was eating. And then they really began to get fired up, but they tied it in. You can see that their concept of death had changed, because they were like, wow, we're going to be forever human and be able to forever delight in human things. I can't wait to die, they would say. And they said this in a positive way, no negative tenor to it, because we're going to be able to get on the other side and eat forever, eat macaroni and cheese, the best kind ever, and make it and remake it. And so it was fascinating that for a long time we got on the subject of death, but from a hopeful point, because death wasn't really death. Jesus killed our death, is what the theology says. We died when Jesus died, but we're going to still be able to be human, and death doesn't mean the end of our humanity.